What is going on, DJ Nation? We got another episode of Fantasy Golf Degenerates for you this week at the freaking RSM Classic in Sea Island Mafia territory. As always, my slick-looking, smooth, conniving, outright hitting Kenny Kim co-host. How are you, my friend?
Yeah, not quite this past week. I had lower. That one hurt a little bit. I thought he was going to take it down because after what we saw last year with Mayo finishing second the week before he won this event last year, I was like, oh, could it repeat itself again? But it could not. Lower sort of struggles a little bit in the wind. If you saw his comments on, I think it was Saturday or Sunday, not a big fan, even though he played decent in the wins. I don't know about using him this week, but I did hit each way number 38 with the lower hit. Missed on Sig I had at each way also, and the outright. He finished ninth. He did not birdie 17, which was a 500-yard par 5 with the wind at your back. Guys are
It's a
driving
fun
it
hole.
like Mike Kim said he drove it like 405 yards.
Yeah.
Michael Kim drove it 405 on that hole, and Grayson Sig couldn't fucking birdie it. So that shit was bitter, but a great event, Campos. What can you say? We'll talk about it after you talk about our nice sponsors.
What can you say about Campos? Just like depositing a casual $1,000 deposit bonus over at Underdog. I almost said Mayo there, but it's using code Mayo at Underdog, baby. Go ahead and do that. I've been pumping out best ball content for you like crazy. So much so that I've got flies flying around my face. We are going to be doing another few drafts on my show tomorrow on 7 Eastern for the Underdog best ball stuff, which is out there now. It starts in the Century Tournament of Champions. So make sure you start getting your drafts in now. You can do 30-second drafts. You can do slow drafts. However you want to approach that, check it out. It's fun as balls. And then as always, we've got the weekly stuff at Underdog too. So make sure you get those pick-ems in to kind of roll that bankroll up for your best ball stuff, Kenny. So you enjoyed drafting last week.
Yeah, it was cool. I mean, like, if you didn't see the show, Byron's Back 9 Bets on Tuesday nights, every Tuesday night, 7 o'clock. If you missed the show live, you could just hit the live button, go back and watch the recording. And I would actually do that because if you're going to be playing best ball on Underdog next year, use promo code Mayo, of course, deposit bonus up to $1,000. You really need his tool. The tool that Byron created is a necessity because best ball in golf, it's all about who's playing what events. Can you get 6 golfers, 6 scoring golfers in as many events as possible? I mean, that is the goal. Like Byron said last week, you can't really it's out of our control how these golfers are going to play during the year. Like, you're taking huge guesses, right, when it comes to how golfers are going to play this year. But one thing that you can control somewhat, and Byron did a really good job about this on the program that he put out, is knowing who's going to play when or have an idea. And that is super important in best ball because you draft 10 golfers and the top 6 every week are the ones that count. Your 6 highest scoring golfers. So you want 6 golfers at least to be playing every single event. And Byron's tool, you're able to count that based upon who you've drafted and stuff like that. And you can look and practice and do like mock type drafts on his tool. And you really can't do mock drafts, I don't think, on Underdog. You're just thrown straight in. So this tool that Byron has, make sure you support him because it's unbelievable. One of the coolest tools that I've seen out there, and I haven't seen any that are doing
best ball
that are
tool
doing
out there for
anything like this for PGA Underdog or for PGA Best Ball. Literally, like, here's the thing: if this thing gets popular, there's no way you're going to win without it, unless you just get lucky, right? Or unless you put in hundreds of hours of research, right? Maybe not hundreds, but like dozens of hours of your own personal research, trying to figure out what golfers are going to play what events, who is slated to be in, these events. And Byron does a really good job. I mean, it's not perfect because we don't know, right? We're taking educated guesses when it comes down to it. But super important getting 6 people in, every event. And really, the only way to do it, at least easily, would be to get his tool. There's really no other option unless you want to put like a lot of your own time in it. And why would you do that when Byron's already done the work for you?
And I can tell you, if you're going to do your own time, put away 100 hours, buddy, because it is a brutal situation trying to figure out who's going to do what. I've told you who's missing changing their statuses from last year to this year, which are going to change your schedule up. We are rocking and rolling. I've got it all there for
Byron,
you.
how do we get it?
Yes,
how do we
link
buy
in
it?
the description. Grab that over there, or go to the Patreon with the Model Maniac, Patreon account, Model Maniac, the Model Maniac, or just go to my Twitter account, the X account there, and I've got my link straight to it right there for you in my bio. So it's everywhere you could wish for. Mike's going to put it in the description.
Did we come up with a price?
First.
Did you come up with a price?
I did. It's $30. So it's basically 3 drafts that you do out of 150. So, and if the more I've already sold 10, by the time it gets to 20, I'm going to raise the price again because we can't let this thing go wild. Like it's
listen, if everybody has this thing, then I don't know, but not everybody will.
No,
that's the thing.
Exactly.
And so if you have this tool, you're going to have such a decided advantage. And it's like 50,000, 100,000. What's the first price?
50K to first. Yeah.
I mean, it's not chump change, guys, for $30 trying
or a $10 entry.
And basically, like, when it comes down to, if you think about it from like a per tournament basis, it's like 80 cents a week.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
I guess there's 28 events, so it's $30. So $1 and some
dollar
change.
event. Yeah, dollar.
Who
I'm
cares?
thinking about
Yes.
the fall too, but the fall don't matter. Yeah. So you're looking at like $1 a week. Yeah. I mean, just go get it now before he raises the price, because I think he should raise the price. I think $30 is too fucking cheap. So get it now before 100 people have it, and those are the 100 you're betting against. You're playing against every week on Underdog Fantasy. But let's talk about this past week. I mean,
and before we get there, Joanne, reach out to me, please, because you got the closest to the pin or closest to the win, should we say, for last week. So Joanne Sliss, please reach out to me at Lindeque, Lindeque at outlook.com so that I can email you this wonderful model, because that was what was up for grabs last week. We'll do it again this week. Whoever guesses who's going to win this tournament, closest in the comments, go ahead, type that in the comments and let us know who's going to win this thing. Make sure that you put away that we can either contact you there or somehow reach out to me, email me if you are the winner. We'll announce that on our Look Ahead show.
And are you giving away the tool?
I'll give away the tool. Yes, I will.
Nice.
So to me, usually I'll give away the models quite easily, but this tool is like my baby, which is coming in 2 weeks' time, by the way. So I've got lots of these different babies, and I'm not giving mine away, but I'm giving my other baby away to only one person that's going to be guessing it right this week.
Underdog Fantasy is the easiest place to play fantasy sports. It's also the fastest growing fantasy app in the industry. I personally like the pick'em games. Pick whether your favorite players will have a higher or lower stat total in this week's game for a chance to win big. Can win up to 100 times your money in a single night. Pick between 2 and 5 players to build a pick'em entry. Can also make rivals picks, which pits 2 players against each other. Now, the reason I like the pick'em games is because of these things called scorchers. There's these little chili peppers next to the golfers' names, and if you click on that, it adds to your multiplier, so you can win even more money. Sign up today with promo code Mayo and get your first deposit doubled up to $100, as well as an instant pick'em special. Must be 18 or over and present in the state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-522-4700 or visit www.ncpgambling.org.
Hey, so, you know what? It could be, your vibe, because look at Rafael Campos. Missed 13 of his last 15 cuts.
Yes.
His wife gives birth on Monday. And he goes out there and is almost dead last for the golfers that made the cut in greens and regulation. for the week. Almost for the golfers that made the cut. He was almost dead last in greens and regulation for the week. I think it was like 50th, 60th, something like that. And I think only like 67 guys made it, 68. Yeah, he was pretty fucking far down. And to do what he did with his short game and his putting, pretty spectacular stuff.
It's the dad buff. The dad buff
that's
is
what I'm
real.
saying. You know, it's the it's the
Call
nappy
it
factor.
diaper swag. Yeah.
It's the nappy factor, right?
Yeah.
We haven't really seen it in full effect in a while, but I mean, it definitely played a part this week to get that win, life changing, gets him into the Century Tournament of Champions, gets him into the Masters next year, gets him into all the non-signature events next year. Pretty big fucking week for Rafael Campos, right?
Huge.
And the funny thing is, you've been on him all fall. You didn't bet him.
Yes. No, I wouldn't be betting him to win, but I would have, I played him
The
in
fall
DFS
is the time to do that.
it.
You know,
Yes,
yeah.
it is.
But these type of things, because okay, so I'll be honest. I'm at 38 each way hits for the year. I had lower. He was my 38th. I have 7 outrights. I want 40. I want 40 each way hits
baby.
for the season.
Let's go.
I think that would be a nice round number. I want the outright too. So I got my betting card. I got 10 guys. I'm betting. Let's now. Here's the thing. I'm only 10% over my bankroll. So my normal weekly bankroll, I used to put 350 in. I got it at 385 this week. So it's not like I'm going insane. You know what I'm saying? But the amount of people I'm betting is way more than usual. But 5 guys from 30 to 55 to 1. And then 5 guys from 100 to 250 to 1.
This is the fantasy golf degenerates, Kenny. You should. I'm actually disappointed you only went 10% over your bankroll. Let's be honest here. This is the final one. Full disclosure, I didn't do that, but I bet to win 2x. So what, like double what I usually would. So like if I hit a winner this week, I'm going to go out big. You know what I'm saying? Basically 2 wins in one, because this is the last chance we really have on the PGA Tour. So
Nice.
You and I are both sitting in the baby seat there. We are rocking and rolling. Let's go. Hopefully we can get it figured out and go from there. So yeah, Campos, amazing stuff. I looked it up, Kenny, 50th in the field in green regulation rates, which is quite disappointing for the man that won a tournament though. So hey, do your thing. And
he would have won by like 50 if he hit the greens regulation that most people did.
Yeah.
Right? He would have just fucking demolished people.
Yeah.
The funny thing is, like, he missed like an 18-inch putt on
massive
Sunday.
horseshoe. Yeah.
Yeah. And then but like his short game, the best. Putting, one of the best. Weeks like that, your putter just gets hot and takes over. Guys can win events like that. Definitely breezy, definitely windy. We talked about lower, bitching about the wind. He's like, why are we playing? I mean, it did get to like 50 mile per hour gusts at one point on Saturday. Guys were missing routine 3-foot putts. I know somebody, I think lower, had a 4 putt from 5 feet. And that's when he fucking lost it. And I probably would have lost it too, right? You 4 putt from 5 feet. I played golf yesterday. And I had, in the first 3 holes, I had 3 putts inside 5 feet to win the hole. 1 for birdie and 2 for pars, and I missed all. Missed every single one. So putting, definitely important.
That's so sad, Kenny.
It is sad. Like me and my partner, we lost the first 10 holes. We were losing 10-0. We came back, won the next 4, and then pressed the last 3. And then won all of those. And so we only lost a buck. We lost 1 hole.
Wow.
So it ended up,
What a comeback.
it ended up working out.
That's
But,
incredible, dude. Way to go.
I played like dog shit. But yeah, other guys. Okay, so Cascade Cornerstones, I had Lower who finished 5th. I had Whaley who finished 5th. I had Novak who finished 2nd. I had Berger who finished 60th. I
Made
think.
the cut.
But those are my 4 cash game cornerstones. Easy. Even with I had my other guy was Sig, who was 8th. So I have 4 golfers in the top 8 in my cash lineup, right? With 1 MC, I was like top, 3%, 5% in all double ups. And of course, like I said last week, I was going to play less because the weather more volatile makes everything more volatile. So of course, I played less cash than I should have, which of course makes me bitter. I broke dead even for the week instead of actually having some wins, and I didn't do horribly in GPPs. I think I won like I got back like about half my money. So it wasn't horrible, but ADC up there. Sam Ryder. This is like Sam Ryder's time of year. I definitely bet him this week. I think 140 to 1 with 8 places. I think he had the top 10 here last year. He tends to play this time of year very strong. Any course where it's not driver heavy because his driver fucking sucks the donkey balls.
Yeah, it does.
You sort of look at Ryder. He's a guy who can putt his way into it. Sig, Bridgman, another guy who's having an amazing fall. And a lot of these guys are having really strong falls. I'm targeting in cash. And that's the way I'm going with it this week. Anything else that you talk about for the PGA, at least? Because this was a pretty big fucking golf weekend that we had this past week. Next, if you anything else you want to talk about the tournament from last week?
I think during this time of the year, when we recap stuff, we can try and get Life Alert to sponsor this part of the show, because we were speaking about guys with strong falls. Yeah, we might want to make a dad joke coming out there a little hard, but my bad. I just thought I'd throw that in there. But Kenny, I want to chat about Wesley Bryan, like you was chatting about there. He is a YouTuber, right? For those of you that don't know Wesley Bryan, he is probably one of the biggest names.
He was on tour way before he was a YouTuber.
Yes, but now he's most renowned for his YouTube stuff on a golf
he
stuff.
won an event. You won a PGA Tour event in like 2016.
Okay, yes.
I think.
But what I'm trying to get at you is he was on the course. Now, he shot 10 under par. He was like 10 under par through like 16 or 15 holes. And we saw nothing on the broadcast. Like the Golf Channel is just so clueless when it comes to finding the stuff. Like, send one cameraman out there and just follow him the entire time. It doesn't even matter if we don't get good shots. Like, he is a YouTuber that's got insane reach. Like, he's got all these subscribers, all these followers. He's trying to break the course record. Like I was saying, like, he is going to drop a YouTube video next that's going to get more views than the Butterfield Bermuda Championship got. Put the guy on TV. He's on the other side of the course. Go get a guy out there and watch him, because we couldn't see anything. And then they show us the final 3 shots of his, which was on 18, like an approach shot and a chip and a putt or something. So just, we're just missing, especially when you got 3 hours of golf only to air. You got to get these guys on there, man. So just wanted to put that out there. If anyone from Golf Channel is listening, please, man, like, go find these guys, hunt them down. We don't need the best quality. Just show us the golf shots that these guys are playing.
So Charlie Hall was talking about slow play. It was actually pretty funny. Nelly, of course, is amazing with her 7 wins this year. Change it to a mallet putter, just like Scotty. I don't know why. I guess if you're playing a blade right now, probably shouldn't. I have all these pros are playing mallets. But Charlie was talking about slow play and what she would do if there was slow play. And this sort of correlates into our next topic. So Charlie says, 2-stroke penalty. The first time, no warning. 2-stroke penalty if you get penalized if you get caught on the clock and you get behind. And then immediate, and if you get 3 of those in a single tour season, you lose your tour card. I mean, she's dead ass serious about it. I don't know if we can go that far on it. But Lucas Glover, if you read his article, if you read the article on Golf Digest, I think it was on Golf Digest. If not, I apologize. But they're talking about the new changes coming up to the PGA Tour this coming up season, where they're shrinking the fields. And the PGA's response to this on why they are doing this is because of slow play, to make sure everyone's able to finish. So basically, like, instead of and then Lucas Glover basically said, do you think we're stupid? Like, we know that you're not doing this for slow play. If you were really doing something for slow play, you would penalize people during an event. That's when it would happen. That's how it should be done. So basically, what Lucas thinks they're doing is they're saying they're punishing the golfers for slow play by shrinking the fields. But in actuality, what they're really doing is they're shrinking the fields, and they want to keep the top guys happy. With less competition, less fields, mean these top guys have a better chance of staying on top. And they don't want these guys to leave to live. And so they're just making this excuse. And I agree with Lucas. I mean, like, this seems like exactly what the PGA Tour is doing. Instead of actually everyone's been bitching about slow play for so long, right? And to do it this way, in like a sneaky, behind the back to the players type of deal, and call it slow play fixing, is some dirty ass nasty shit.
It's politics. They like passing a law, but underhanding some other shit underneath, right?
Yeah.
Like that's what's happening. Yeah. And guess what? 120 people in Bermuda couldn't finish their rounds either.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if they don't finish this round on separate courses the first 2 days, I don't know what to tell you. And that of course is an issue for the tour, because it's hard to grow eyeballs when the pace of play is so slow. It's just plain and simple. I think that's probably why the TGL tried to do their thing. Because it should be a lot quicker, less than 2 hours. Blah blah blah. Let's see how that goes. I don't know if I'm going to watch it, but I mean, if it's an hour and a half and I got nothing else to do, I might just turn it on. I didn't realize it was going to be that quick. And I sort of like that. Talking about that. What's your take on slow play? Because you've played out there in college in real competitive golf. Was it bad when you played?
Oh, dude, we would be out in the fall, and it would be freezing cold, or in the spring in particular. And we would have our entire team on a par 3 tee box in the middle of a room, 5 guys. And it would be all of us just waiting to go. It would just be a massive backlog. And it's mainly got to do with when we put the chicks in as well. We all played on the same course at the same time, played shotgun starts with like 1A, 1B. A clumpy field will result in slow play. It's just how it goes. The more people you do there, the more traffic there is, the worse shots you'll see, and blah, blah, blah. So I understand that, but these are professional golfers, though.
It sounds like you got the PGAs back there, because it sounds like it's because
because
there's a log jam. Too many
I understand
people
the
on the
log
course.
jam, but I don't have the back of the PGA Tour in this situation. They brought out a shot clock 6 years ago, and it worked, I believe, on the European Tour, and no longer doing that anymore. Why not? I mean, they did in baseball. Boom. Like, look what's happened to the game of baseball. Like, it needs to happen. I don't understand why they're not doing this. They are just protecting and softing these players like crazy. And you cannot tell me, like, golf would be way more exciting to see if you didn't have 4 or 5 minutes to kind of figure out a shot. Wouldn't it be cool to kind of just see a guy walk up there, know he's got 90 seconds, and have to, like, wing it? I know they're playing for tons of money, but
the only problem is, like, do you really want to see that on the back nine at the Masters? Like, I would rather that's why it's hard. You know what I'm saying? Because in the back nine on the Masters, the wind's blowing, April wind's blowing. You're playing for the most prestigious event, and even not that. Say in the fall, these guys are playing for their livelihood. Let's an example on the LPGA Tour this past week. Carlotta Saganda, one of the slowest players,
molasses Saganda
in the world, like men or woman, and she gets fined all the time. Like,
she doesn't give a shit.
And like these last couple of events, I don't know if she's fighting for a card or fighting for a placement or whatever. But people were saying that she just got fined and not gave a fuck. And was like, just fine me. Because this is like the most important couple of rounds of my life. I have to do what I do. So it's tough going from both of those. The only thing I could think of is if you say, fuck those people. That's the only answer to fix the problem. Now, does that water down golf? because some of these people have been doing this for so long. It's just the only way they know how to do it. And something like that, 3-shot routines and stuff like that, changing that can really affect the golfer's rhythm and really affect the golfer's game.
The only way that this would work in theory is that you're only going to see the results in 20 years of a shot clock being played, because they have to start at the rookie level, right? Because that's how they have to learn how to play. Anybody old right now is going to be in shambles because it'll mess up everything, like you said, that they've ever taught themselves, right?
Yeah.
So
see that's the argument right there. I don't know what the fix is, and I guess the PGA thinks the fix is shit. The more I talk this out, the more it sort of makes sense for the PGA.
For the PGA, but when has the PGA ever given a crap about the people that watch the product?
Yeah, but that's the problem. Yes, that is the problem. I'm looking at it on a player's side. Maybe we should just look at it from a fan side and be like, fuck it. Like, if
there's
these
no
guys
golf without fans.
If these guys can't adapt, so be it.
Exactly.
But I don't think that'll ever happen. And so that's the conundrum that we're in right now. Like, what solutions do we have? The only solution I could think of is what I just said. And I don't think that's ever going to happen.
I can think of, like you mentioned on the back nine of Augusta, Kenny, maybe you have like a few get out of jail free cards. Like, all right, I know we're on shot clocks, but if you find yourself in a specific situation, you get like one pass per round where you can like say, okay, I'm going to take 5 minutes here versus
but here's
2
the
minutes
thing.
Or whatever.
It only takes one real big delay per round to fuck everything up.
Sure, but they're doing it all the time. It's like repeat offenders all the freaking time. So
there's variables too with weather too. Like if you think about
wind,
the wind comes through. Like golfers will just back off, right?
Yeah, it's such a fine line, and like just talking through it, I guess from a player's perspective, I can understand it from the PGA Tour, but I still think that's not what the PGA Tour was doing. In the PGA Tour, what they're doing with this shrinking of the field is actually just to appease the top guys. Now, if it ends up actually working, that's just a side effect of it, right? I mean, I don't know. I don't really know what to expect in this, because it's such a hot topic of conversation. But like the answers that people have to try and fix it just seem like they won't work. Like a 90-second shot clock. I mean, like people would die out there, right? I mean, these guys would be you would get shittier golf.
But you get better golf in 20 years. Is the thing, right?
Or golf entertainment, at least.
It's for the long play is the only way that this works.
And so these guys just got to suffer right now. I think you're right. I think.
And it's the same for everyone. Like if there's wind, everyone's playing in the wind. Like you're all on the course together. Some guys, wave advantages, so be it. That's the nature of the game. And the pitchers in the MLB, they have a timeout. Like if he's uncomfortable, he doesn't want to adhere to that this week, he just calls a timeout. Boom, reset the shot clock. You can have 2 of those, like a round or whatever. I think it's doable. We just need to quit treating these guys like pussies. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
I think I might fall for that too, because the way my thought process right there was, I was thinking about the players. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And that's just what it just straight led to
making millions of dollars. Like we need like. You know what I'm saying? Let's see more shots. Let's go.
Yeah. Last day before we move on, Rory. Pretty impressive. His 6th DP Tour World Race to Dubai Championship, right? Really impressive stuff from him. 3 FedEx Cups, 4 majors, 41 wins worldwide. Here's the thing. Here's the thing about Rory. He cannot live up to our expectations and still be the greatest player post-Tiger. He's been the greatest player post-Tiger, right?
Sure.
I can't think of anybody else.
I mean,
who else could it be?
I mean, from a major perspective, Brooks has
I'm
been
just saying
incredible.
Golf. But
John Rahm.
Brooks has like 4 wins on PGA. Like he only had 10 wins.
Yeah. But I think Rory's also been around for 20 years, Kenny. He's 40-something.
Brooksy's been around for a decade.
Yeah, you still got another 10 years to do what Rory's done. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like,
but he's
Scotty,
won like a quarter of the events that Rory's
Yes.
had total.
Sure. I know. The thing is, we haven't had like a bona fide alpha since Tiger. Rory's an alpha in a beta fields and a complete bitch in the alpha fields lately for the last 10 years.
I don't think there's any question. I think it's pretty unanimous. A guy who's won that many times, who has 6, race to Dubai championships, 3 FedEx Cups, 4 majors, 40 plus wins. I mean, look, man, my relationship with him has been love and hate. It's been hate for the majority of my life. Recently, I've sort of switched my stance on him, but just looking at those numbers, from a major perspective, he's not the best. I could say that, no problem. It's the truth. Bryson is, not Bryson. Brooks is. That's just a numbers game. But from the best golfer number is not who's won the most majors. At least not now, because you don't have guys who are winning 5, 8, 10. I don't know if we see that because golfers are everyone's so good nowadays, right? Like,
Right, but
so good.
in the last few years, Bryson's won twice. Brooks has won multiple times. Scotty's won the Masters twice. John Rahm's collected like 2 or 3.
Yeah, but
Xander
like I
won
said,
1 year.
Rory's also
Disney
done it
Kids.
for 20 years.
Yeah,
Now,
but not in the last 11.
Can these other guys pass him? Sure. Let's see in another 10 years. But right now, Rory's the best.
Yeah, and he traded in all the majors for all of this other fluff. Sure,
For another Masters, yeah.
And
For one Masters.
the race to Dubai is also kind of a passive way of saying he's played well in the majors, because that's how he's got all these points. Is by finishing top 5 all the time in the majors, because he doesn't play on the European Tour or the DP World Tour. He plays on the PGA Tour, and all of his points come from the majors. And then he just goes there and just shows up like the big, Daddy's Home, the movie, where he just like freaking Mark Wahlberg just shows up and John Cena's there and he's like, you know what, give me my couch, bitch. It's time, but it's in Dubai. So I agree, one of the most decorated players of our generation since Tiger. What he's done in the last 10, 11 years has been a little rough. And I do want to mention, Kenny, you tied Seve Ballesteros with, I think, 6 now of these. Guess how many majors Seve has? 5. So if you're looking at how stars align, Rory, maybe this is the year. They play at Quail, Kenny.
I think he's going to win another
Quail Hollow.
major. I don't know if he's going to win the Masters. He should, but it could be too much in his head.
Yeah,
Could be like a Phil US Open.
Maybe he'll win the Masters in 2026 after he wins the PGA Championship in 2025 at Quail Hollow.
Yeah,
because that's the time for him, man.
I think he's going to win another major. I don't doubt that, but I don't know if he's going to win the Masters.
No.
And that's the one that he wants, of course.
Yeah, but it's okay. Rory's won 4 times at Quail. This should be the 5th major, 5th win at Quail. Incredible stuff. So I feel like we did a lot of the underdog strategy earlier in the show. I feel like we can potentially skip that unless you have any.
Oh, just make sure you go
stuff.
listen tomorrow. We'll go tomorrow. Byron's going to do some drafts. Who are you doing the drafts with?
I actually do them on my own Back Nine Bets channel now. I just do random streams where I just draft. But I'll also.
I know. Okay, so you do that on your screen.
Oh yeah, and I'll do a few. I'll knock a few out early in the show, kind of show off the tool.
If you wanted me to come on and do another draft, I'd be down. So maybe we could do that for tomorrow.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
We can rock and roll.
So what I want from you, Byron, tomorrow on Back Nine Bets is players that I need to have to fill out the tournaments that I have. Like I'm talking about like rounds
core pieces, utility pieces,
like rounds 4 through 10. Maybe 3 through 10. I want like 7 guys that I can get, or 10 guys that's going to help me, that are going to play a bunch of courses who you think are going to rock out. And then we'll go over those, and then I will just draft those guys.
Perfect.
All right? Yeah.
The tool does that for you already.
Yeah.
And I want to mention Rasmus Højgaard, who was the highest ranked Race to Dubai player that gets his PGA Tour card that's not already exempt on tour. He gets into the first 2 signature events, by the way, courtesy of being that number 1 guy.
Did his brother win? Is he in the top 50? His brother? I think he is.
So Nikolai's played like ass for the last little while. And I think he's in the top 125. But
really? Because I haven't seen him play at all in the fall. So I figure he was in.
Yeah, and I think he's just like floating around the top 125. I'll put it up right now. But I think
other name, while you look that up, other names who made it, like Matteo Manassera, right? Who, when he was 15, 16 years old, was touted as one of the biggest, brightest stars, like an American version of like Ty Tryon, or something like that, right? He comes in, I think he won a couple of events as a teenager on the DP World Tour, and then just crickets for like a decade. I don't really know what happened to him, but in the last like year and a half, you've seen him come back. He made the top 10. He's going to be on the PGA Tour next year. So what a road for him. You look at other guys, hey, it's a pee in a plane. Thorbjorn Olesen. You know, you sexually harass, grab titties, and piss on a plane, you could still make it on the PGA Tour. You could still make it. You could black out drunk, piss on in the middle of a plane, grab the stewardess's titties, and still make it onto the PGA Tour. So kids, dream big. Dream big. I mean, but like, you know, there's some
don't reach
big
too
names.
far. Yeah. So Thriston is in, but now the funniest thing is Thor had to go back to Europe to get his PGA Tour card again. Because he couldn't hack it on the PGA Tour. Now he's got it again. Does he play well, Kenny, or does he have to do this again in
Here's the thing, like
time?
Once something like that happens to you, actually that's a lie, because shit like that's happened to me before and it didn't change fuck. So I don't know. Maybe it has. Like maybe like deep down it has. I've become much calmer, but there's like shit that I've done in my 20s that like there was like some wild shit where like I was wild and everyone knew I was wilding and it was not good, like hospital stays and shit like that, right?
Yes.
You know, you remember those and you try not to do that again, right? And I didn't. It only happened once, but it's not like I stopped like everything cold turkey. So I'm not a great example of anything in life. So really, we should just we'll just skip that part, but we can move on. What's next?
What's next? We want to chat some kickback. Kickback golf bets, or when you want to do Kenny's Kim of the Week, Kenny?
I did not even look at that shit, so I have no fucking clue, bro.
All right, we'll do it in the DFS part of the show. Let's get into our kickback golf bets and strategy, brought to you by our wonderful people over at Kickback Golf. Go check it out over there. Use code FGD15 to get yourself 15% off of their amazing merchandise. Some badass baseball jerseys, some badass basketball jerseys, and they are all, I almost forgot about the sports there, but I'm just thinking about how silky smooth my John Daly Razorbacks jersey was. It's amazing. We've got Sahith Theegala, Pepperdine stuff. We've got Sung J.M. We've got all the Koreans on that stuff. So go check it out if you're in that kind of mood. It is Christmas time. Kenny's pointing at me. What's going on, Kenny?
I forgot something. So continue. Give me 1 minute.
Oh, boy. All right. So I'll keep wrapping it up. Maybe Kenny shows up. Maybe he doesn't. But it's an amazing Xmas gift, friends. You know, like go ahead, get it for your husbands, get it for your family, your kids, blah, blah, blah. Said that many times. We're in the mood to kind of spread the love over there at Kickback Golf. So until Kenny gets back.
No, just make your bets, bro.
We're good. Okay. Sure. Kenny's yodeling back from the, oh boy, we've got all sorts of stuff coming on here. All right. I'll rattle off some outrights here for you guys in the meantime. Like I said, I am playing to win double what I usually do. And Kenny, do you want to share what you found out, or can I rock and roll still?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. So starting off at the top, I'm going with Denny McCarthy. I know 25-1. These are all that bet rivers where you can get 6 places each way. And Denny's been phenomenal at this golf course. It's basically some sort of glorified putting contest. And guess what? Denny has been dialing in the irons. He had 3 consecutive tournaments where he was gaining big time with the irons to end his season. He'll be showing up for the first time at a golf course that he's played very nicely at with some renewed confidence with the irons. Then we're going to go to Seamus Power. Also played fantastic golf here, getting a 33-1. This is his time of the year. Usually he wins the Butterfield Bermuda. You know, we're a week past that now, and I think he's had some fantastic results here. We get 33-1 on Seamus. Then we're going to scoot on down to Mackenzie Hughes. Has 2 second-place finishes amidst some missed cuts at this golf course. He's 40-1. Some really nice numbers there for Mackenzie. And that's also each ways at Bet Rivers, 6 places. Then we're going to go over to Justin Lower, however you want to say it. Maybe you can go lower this week for Lauer because he's been playing some fantastic golf. He's been in contention now the last 2 freaking tournaments. It's go time, Kenny. 55-1 for a guy that's been almost winning the last 2 PGA Tour events. So we're going to a course he's never really played the greatest at, but his golf game is in great shape at the moment. And then Matt McCarty. This dude has been a baller. You're getting 60-1 for a guy that's won a PGA Tour event in the fall already, won 3 times on the Corn Ferry Tour, blah, you know, all that jazz. Let's see what he can do. We got a really nice 60-1 over there for Matt McCarty. And then I'm going to round out my card with a Jake Knapp 200-1. I believe when I was out at the John Deere Classic, I saw him massaging his wrist in between shots. He wasn't healthy to end out the season. Looks like he's playing some golf. I was creeping his Beyonce's Instagram because I was doing all this best ball scheduling. This is what I do for you people, okay? You got to go deep. Saw he's out there playing golf casually with some buddies. So I wouldn't be playing golf casually if my wrist was jacked up and I'm trying to protect it. He's back now. He's playing golf at the RSM, and he typically plays nicely on his shorter courses too. He can dial in those irons off the tee, and he can make putts. So 200-1 each ways. Boom chakalaka, Bob's your father. So those are my outrights for you guys.
Like I said, I got like 10 bets. So
All
this
right.
might take a minute because I want to get
go.
each way. I want to get each way 39 and 40, and I want to get outright number 8. Should be number 9. Hideki, fuck you. Whoever told me his shit got stolen. Whatever, fuck all y'all. But so first bet for this week, it's going to be Ben Griffin at 28-1. I'm targeting guys. I'm a little bit different than you, I guess, this week. I'm targeting guys that have been playing well in the fall. That have been playing a lot in the fall and have played well in the fall. It's a culmination of, they've been grinding every week. They've been out there. So could go backfire. They could be tired. But Ben Griffin's just every course he's played, he's been having top finishes every time, even with a lot of it has to do with his putter, of course. But again, this can be a putting contest. Like I said, 70% of fairways, 75% of greens hit at this place throughout the years. You know what I'm saying? We do have a little bit of wind and weather coming up this week. He played fine in it last week. I mean, again, another top 15, top 20 finish for him again. So I like him at 28-1. I can't remember, but I think he's played well here in the past also. I think most of these guys have good course history as well. Next, it's going to be JJ Spawn at 33-1. Again, a guy who's played this course a bunch. Came in 6th last week. Always makes the cuts. Had a couple of good finishes. When he gets hot, he sort of stays hot for a few weeks. So I like JJ 33-1. Eric Cole 33-1. Also, if he's going to win, again, runner-up last year, top 5 last year, if I'm not mistaken, 6 in his last time out. I think which was the Zozo, which is another similar type test like this, where it's positional type golf. This is his shit right here. If you're going to win, let's get it done, Cole. I mean, he's been playing.
Oh, yeah.
I don't give a fuck. His ass has been playing some type of competitive golf. He's playing like some random mini tours, even though he's got his PGA Tour card. I don't know why the fuck he does it.
FedEx.
Going on top 50 in the FedEx, going out playing mini tours on Mondays for like $5,000 or some shit. Like this motherfucker is in like a degen. So you got to go him 33-1. Bridgman again, consistent, solid play. Who can putt the lights out? Who makes a good amount of birdies? Who fared well in the win again last week? Pretty much a theme of a lot of these bets for me this week. Grayson Sigg, again, that's going to be 55-1. And all of these are going to be with 8 places. So those are my first 5 bets. All between 33 and 55-1. Grayson Sigg, again, playing well, has good finishes here. Played a bunch in the fall. The same type of, narrative I'm going with for basically everyone this week. And then here comes the big numbers. First one, it's going to be Adam Alex Smalley at 100-1. He showed some signs last week. He's always been in the mix, and then like one round sort of fucks him. I think he can get it all together at 100-1 with 8 places. I'll go ahead and take that number. Next, it's going to be
when you have
Sam
to
Ryder.
scroll down your outright
Yeah, I
list.
have to scroll. Yeah, Sam Ryder, 140-1. Again, a solid finish last year, solid finish last week. This seems like it's his time of year to go ahead and do well. He always tends to play well late in the fall. This is when you see him on top of leaderboards. So I'm going to go ahead and go with him. Garrick Higo, 150-1. Solid finishes here again recently. Again, we're going with that narrative, that same theme. Plays well, has played well in the fall, has played well at this course also at 150-1. Robbie Shelton, 225-1. If I remember correctly, I think he went to Bama, right? I'm pretty sure he went to an SEC school. Again, the SEC championship is at this course. He's very, very familiar. He's won mad amateur events, one of the top amateurs in the world right there. And then Tyler Duncan, 220. Well, he was one of the top amateurs in the world. Tyler Duncan, 225-1. Again, good. He has good form here. At 225-1 with 8 places with the form he has, I'll take it. That's a lot. I know. But I want the 40 and I want the 8th outright. And here's the thing. I'm only like 10% over my allotted budget per week. So I didn't even go that crazy. That's why you see a lot of these long shots. And long shots, not the worst play here. It sort of goes off and on with favorites and long shots at this course. They could definitely hit, and you put the each way in there for some of these, like 225-1 for $10. You get like $500. Not bad for $10, $20 total bet. So that's going to be my card for the week.
Let's go. Do you want to recap it, Kenny?
No.
I'm just joking.
Okay.
All right. Do you want to read off your course preview for the RSM Classic in 2024?
Yeah, let's get to it. Let's talk about this week. It's always a fun tournament, and like the strength of field, it's not horrible. To me, it's playing like a non-signature event. Like
the Wyndham.
That's not any time near the majors, right? That's what it feels like to me. This type of field, and it's great to see it as the last event of the year. But the PGA Tour goes to St. Simons Island in Georgia for the last event of the 2022 calendar year. I have this from 2020. I don't know why, but I will change that. 2024 calendar year. Now, the RSM Classic is going to be played at 2 different courses, just like every year. The Seaside course and the Plantation course. Golfers are going to be playing each of the 2 courses during the first 2 rounds, then finish the weekend at the Seaside course. It's sort of weird calling something a plantation nowadays. It just has negative connotations. I guess it is deep, deep in the South. One thing, so when I was in this neck of the woods, it was, I think about 10 years ago. And I know from the Tour Junkies, Pat, he's a big fan of this restaurant. He was sort of angry that I said this, but it was just something that I noticed that I thought was weird. The number 1 restaurant, I guess, down in Savannah is the Pink House, right? And it's literally this pink house. It's a former plantation, cotton picking, slaves, all that plantation home that they made into this beautiful restaurant. I don't know why they painted pink on the outside. It's sort of tacky, but the inside's beautiful. It's all old school. The food's great. But it's just weird going there and like it's in a former plantation and all the servers are black. Like, it's just strange to me. And so, anyways, I'm going off topic here. The edible's hitting. So, obviously, I'm going to go off target sometimes. But anyways, the Plantation course. They play that on Friday and Thursday. Now, Sea Island, home to dozens of golfers. Davis Lowe III, Matt Kuchar, Zach Johnson, Harris English, Pat Desire, Brian Harmon, JT Post, and Chris Kirk, and Kevin Kisner, part-time residents here. CH3 when he won here in 2018. Shout out, hey, that's why I'm wearing the Monster Energy shirt. Shout out to my boy at Monster Energy. I'm not allowed to say his name because he's a high up guy and people can't know that he's a fucking degenerate, but I do love you. He actually won that. I actually hit CH3 in that. That was in my ridiculous run where I won like 7 weeks in like 13. Like I hit like 7 of 13 weeks. It was crazy. And I hit CH3 at the RSM. I think it was like 120. It was a lot. And this guy, he won and he hit me up and he's like, you want to go to the NASCAR race? So I got like Monster Energy, like VIP pit passes. I rode the goddamn pace car. Like to start the NASCAR race, I have to drive. I didn't drive it.
You were a passenger.
I was a passenger. Rondé Barber was driving. It was at Richmond. But shout out to him. Anyway, CH3, Sea Island Mafia. Now, they didn't really do great here until like recently. Like 2017, 2018 is when everything turned around. Like lately, the Sea Island Mafia has been pretty fucking hot. I mean, I wouldn't use that as like any type of thing you're really thinking about a lot. But like if you're going for like a tiebreaker, or it's a good way to judge ownership because more than likely a lot of guys know that these guys are familiar. They're going to be higher owned. So that's something you could think of as well. Also, like I said earlier, the SEC championship has been played here numerous years. So guys who play college, SEC ball, they should be familiar with this course. Weather, always a huge factor. You can get mid-teens to last year, minus 29 in pretty pristine conditions. And an extremely talented golfer in Oberg. But you've seen like, mid-teens here win. Also sort of like what happened last week, where you saw, it did go into the 20s, but it was still tough sledding for a lot of golfers. I think you could see the same because the wind's supposed to be 25, 30 miles per hour on Thursday and Friday. It looks like Saturday and Sunday should be calm. So this is, of course, me being stupid again with betting 87 million people before the wave, but I'm a fucking idiot. Don't do what I do. Just don't do what I do. Wait till Wednesday. Make your bets then. Make your lineups there because there obviously could be a wave advantage. And honestly, I bet enough people where I probably have enough in both. And it'll even my card out.
Yes,
it'll be like karma, right? It'll be like betting karma. Like, what the fuck are you doing betting 10 people? I'm cutting that shit in half right now. That's what the betting gods would say. All right. So, similar courses, Harbor Links, Waialae, both short coastal tracks. You're looking at almost half the winners of the last 15 years have like a top 5 finish at either Sony Open or the RBC Heritage before their win here. So that's pretty correlative right there, if that's a word, correlative. Is that a word? Doesn't sound like a word to me. All right, so the Seaside course. There's 2 courses this week.
Oh, boy.
The Seaside course, 7,000 yard, par 70, 4 par 4s, 4 par 3s, 2 par 5s. Dry conditions, both the par 5s should be reachable. By a lot. With the wind, we'll see. I think it's supposed to have a little bit of rain too, so it could be sort of soft. We'll have to check the weather when it gets closer to it. Course is a traditional link style course with the ocean breeze playing, a big factor. Now off the tee, golfers are going to see average size fairways that actually get more narrow as golfers get closer to the hole. This leads to a lot of drivers using less than driver. A lot of golfers using less than driver. You'll see hybrids, some 3-woods occasionally. And then on the par 5s is when you'll see the drivers. But other than that, you really don't need it. The rough around the fairways, they're fairly tall and thick, but the course is so short that it shouldn't really present too many issues. You're going to see a lot of shots from 100 to 125. A lot of flip wedges is what you're going to see here. If the golfers miss the fairway, there's going to be like bunkers, some marshland, seaside vegetation, sandy native areas, plenty of water. So lesson driver is pretty smart. The fairways themselves are rolling, hilly. We'll see how firm, even with a little bit of moisture, they still get a good amount of roll. I'm not sure how much precipitation they've had here recently. I probably go read Bamford's article. He goes over like the last 2 weeks weather and what they've gone and how much rain they've gotten. So I'd check that out. That's one thing I didn't get enough time to. With the pricing coming out at fucking 5 o'clock, DraftKings, what the fuck? We started our pot at 5:30. Thank you. Anyways, so approach shots, golfers are going to see large overseeded Bermuda greens, stip meter of around 11.5, maybe less if it gets super windy. Most of the greens are elevated and have a good amount of slope and undulation. The greens are probably the biggest defense outside of the weather. The greenside bunkers guard the putting surface. Rough usually a bit thicker than they are around the fairways. So you see more thicker rough around the greens compared to what you see around the fairways. Plantation course, guys are going to get one round here. 7,050-yard par 72, 4 par 3s, 4 par 5s. All the par 5s are reachable, none being longer than 560. This is the course that you want to probably target if you are playing showdown or, underdog, looking for like something over for birdies or something like that, because, this course a little bit more shielded from the wind compared to the Seaside. It went through a bit of a redesign. It did make it a little bit tougher, and bunkers were removed. The grass on the greens were replaced. You put some wind in there. It's definitely not a cakewalk, but I think it is slightly easier of the two. It just depends, how you play, because there are 4 par 4s here. So, you do have the opportunity of par 5s. Yeah. That sort of maybe evens the playing field a little bit. Now there are a lot more bunkers here, and that's a big thing. Lots of bunkers compared to Seaside. And water is going to be a factor, just like its sister course. Like I said, the large trees should shield the course a bit from the wind, unlike Seaside. The fairway is relatively flat, but they should have a good amount of roll also. On approach shots, golfers are going to see much smaller greens compared to Seaside, with a lot more bunkers guarding the greens. The new grass on the greens continues to play firm. I think we've seen it play harder until last year. And so maybe they've grown in, maybe it's settled down a little bit, because those first couple of years with the new grass, it definitely played a lot harder. Last year, of course, we saw record-breaking scores. So maybe it's grown in enough. Again, same type of Bermuda on the greens. It should have similar stim rate, a meeting of 11.5 also. Byron, what are you looking for?
Denny, same thing as you. I'm kind of leaning on some decent form coming into this thing. We've played some nice golf at this venue before, kind of like Sony, like Harbour Town, not terrible calm courses either, like you said. I think those are great suggestions to go from. And then just trying to find some guys that are going to do this thing here with some course history. I think this week, it's like a middle-of-the-road course history venue. It's not bad to kind of look into it this week. And I think that's going to be where we're going. And then, as always, keep an eye on the weather, see how that works out for you guys, because that plantation course, like you mentioned, is a little more guarded by the trees. So there could be a chance to kind of lean into that weather edge if you can find it. Alrighty, let's get into some DK pricing. And before we do that, I want to just run off some high-owned options that were in the last few years. So Russell Henley, last year, he was $9,700, 30% owned. Eric Cole, 27% owned at $9,000. JT Poston, 23% at $9,300. And then the winner, Ludwig, was also 23% at $10,900. So we can expect that 23% to easily climb into the 30s. What do you think, Kenny? Well, Ludwig this week.
I think so too. Now, here's the thing. He hasn't officially played since the Tour Championship. You worry about Russell at all? Because if you look at his form last time, the year coming in, he played 3 events prior and had like a runner-up, a 10th, and a 6th or something like that. Like, he played 3 events in the fall leading up to his win at the RSM, and all 3 were very, very strong finishes. Now, has he been chilling? Like, what has he been doing? Like, we don't know.
Yeah, he's meniscus tear repaired.
Yeah. So he just had surgery. He's coming back from surgery. In my opinion, I think at first glance, I'm clicking the hell out of him, right? Because he is the class of the field. But you throw in the surgery and you throw in the fact that he hasn't played in a while. He's young. He's probably been playing, I would think, but maybe not as much as you'd like to because of rehab. Could be, I think he's going to be well over 30%. Could it be a week to just be like, let's just go balls to the wall and be like, fuck it, no Oberg?
I mean, I don't mind going to Davis Thompson instead of him. I'm looking at him like a 1B.
God, that just sounded fucking horrible right there. I understand what you're saying, Davis Thompson. Yes, he can play, but I mean, because it makes sense. But like, if someone just heard that, they're like, I'm going to go from Oberg to David Thompson. That's the core. That's the field we have, guys. That's the field we're going with. We're going from like one of the best in the world, and then the next best in this field is Davis Thompson.
Davis Thompson is the winner of the goddamn John Deere Classic, Kenny. Okay,
the
People's Major.
My take was that it's just a little bit of a drop off from first to second when it comes to strength of the field.
I do think Davis is a little underrated as well, so I am big on him going into this week in a big way.
He's never a Davis Thompson guy. Like, I think he is, but like, I know his short game, he's strong and stuff like that, but like, has he been doing well?
Yeah, he played nicely at Shriners. Like, he doesn't have some rust, and he plays these short positional courses really well nowadays. You know, I think he's a definite chance. I mean, maybe call him 1A, 1C instead of we leave a B some gap there, but I fancy Davis Thompson. I think you're going to get some salary discounts. You're going to get some ownership discount in a big way. Doesn't necessarily have the best course history here, but he has been playing some good golf. So I'd probably lean into Davis Thompson. I'll let Ludwig burn me. You know, just take a gamble on him at like a first round leader bet maybe and see where that goes with the top 5. And then you just lean on him in showdown if he kind of keeps going well. So for me, it's Davis Thompson. And then I'll probably roll out some Denny McCarthy as well in that department.
I'm not going to play anybody in the 10K unless I play Oberg. So I haven't made up my mind. Because I mean, he's literally like a bajillion times better in golf terms than everybody else in this field.
You're not concerned about the fact, Kenny, that his last few Sundays, he hasn't gained more than a stroke since
I'm
Augusta.
Concerned about a lot of things.
Since Augusta, he hasn't gained more than a stroke on a Sunday.
Yeah, but he's also usually been playing with the big boys. He ain't lining up with like JJ Spawn in the final group. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, he's playing with like guys he watched on TV like 6 years ago as like a fucking middle school student or a high school student. You know, those are the guys he's playing against. On Sundays, his first year as a pro, I can give him a pass on that. He ain't looking up to fucking Davis motherfucking Thompson in the final round, right? He will go into that shit nowadays thinking he the boss. And if he doesn't win there, then you worry. If he's in the lead on Sunday and he doesn't finish it off, you worry. But I don't know. I might not play him. I haven't decided, but if I'm not going to play anybody else. The guy I'm going to play, Denny again, he hasn't played in a long time. I'm just not a Davis Thompson guy. I know he had that nice run at the end of the year, but I just can't play him for like $10,000. I'm sorry. I just can't do it. And so, Harmon hasn't played since the President's Cup.
So you are pretty much out on guys that haven't played recently.
I don't like it. I definitely don't like it. Not except for Oberg. But yeah. Except for Nate Oberg. That's the only one I would think about. But Siwoo is the guy that I'm going to be thinking about is I want to play. I want to play Siwoo, short game, extraordinaire. If the wind goes strong, I think he had a couple of rounds in the 60s here last year to finish off his week, his season. I also like him because he has a lot to play for. If he gets inside the top 50 in the world by the end of the year, he gets a free invite to the Masters. He's not in yet. So if he, wins this event or, gets a top finish, I don't know exactly where he's ranked, but he could creep into that top 50 in the OWGR and get that automatic spot. You know what I'm saying? And I don't think he's in the top 70 either, or top
55.
50.
55.
Yeah. So he needs to stay in that 50 to 60 range to get in those first couple of events, right?
Okay, 55th in OWGR. He's inside the top 50, 32nd.
Oh, he is. He is in OWGR. Okay, yeah. So 55th. So he still needs to get in. He needs to get in to get a major, and that could play a big part for him. He wants to play that narrative going into it. But Ben Griffin's going to be my first cash game cornerstone. Again, he's just been playing well in the fall. He's played well at this course. It's a pretty simple math. That's the way I'm going with a lot of my plays, like my core plays this week. And then, guys, somebody that could be overlooked here, Matt Wallace at 9,000, who's coming off a couple of really good finishes across the pond. Now, you worry a little bit about the time difference, but, he's a world traveler. He's done it before. It's not new to him. So I sort of like him at being like maybe low owned. I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking like everyone else is, because usually if you're playing in the fall, you're a degen, you're pretty sharp. So so maybe I'm thinking what everyone else is thinking about Matt Wallace. I don't know. What do you think about him?
No, he's interesting because that's the thing. He's coming from a land that not a lot of people might pay attention to, but like you said, the people playing right now are sharpies. So he's played some good golf. His short game is extraordinary, and it makes a lot of sense. But I think there's so many options in this range, Kenny, that there's not gonna really be that much ownership accumulating in this 9 and 8K range, because I think it's going to be spread out.
We saw last week. I mean, like 22% owned to like 13% owned was like 40 golfers or 30 golfers. It was a lot in just that small little range. So everything's going to be. Everyone uses. That's what you see in these type of events, I think.
Yeah, outside of Ludwig, I think he's going to be very popular. And then, but this range, we'll see. It's going to be spread out like PB&J over here. And I think Maverick McNeely is not a bad option to look at, as a $9,100 option. Seamus, he could be one of the higher owned guys. He typically does get a lot of ownership, has played great golf yet too. So he's someone I'll be looking at as well, ownership dependent. But I'll be looking at Mav. And then Harman, I'll take a gamble on him as well. I think he's played good golf here before. I think everyone might just skip over him coming from that 10K range and then going to the lower guys like you mentioned, who all have good options,
He's another one that I thought of, up there. So but we'll see. It just depends how much Siwoo I'm going to have this week, because I think Siwoo's going to have a big week. Of course, I didn't bet him. That's usually how I know he's going to have a big week. But 8K range, I mean, like, I'll go on my second cash game cornerstone. It's going to be Harris English. Again, 3 straight top 15s, top 16s. He's had his fair share of success and failures here, but he knows his course up and down with a little bit of wind. I think that maybe his history and his knowledge of the course could be helpful. So I like Harris English as my second cash game cornerstone. My third cash game cornerstone is JJ Spawn at $8,400. Again, a guy who, with a really strong finish last week, when he gets hot, he sort of stays hot for a couple of weeks. He's made a ton of cuts. I think he missed one recently, but prior to that, he's made a bunch. He's made a bunch of cuts here, minus maybe one in his career at this course. I'm going to go ahead and play both those narratives, the course history and current form, with JJ Spawn at $8,400. And then, I'm actually going to close it out with another cash game cornerstone in the 8K range. It's going to be really a balanced lineup this week. So my highest price guy is going to be Griffin. I think he's $9,300. My lowest price, I think, is $7,300. So everyone's going to be condensed. I don't have anybody lower than $7,300. My final cash game cornerstone is going to be Novak. The runner-up last week. He had a nice run. He missed like one cut recently, but prior to that, he made a shit ton of cuts in a row. He's been having a really underrated back half of the season. Now he's come back in the fall. Really strong performance last week, all in the wind, on a similar small coastal track. Going with that form. His history here, I don't think is the best, but I think he's made 2 of his last 3 cuts. So I'll go ahead and take that with it. And he's playing better golf. So my cash game cornerstones for this week are going to be Ben Griffin at $9,300, Harris English at $8,900, JJ Spawn at $8,400, Novak at $8,100. It leaves you one more in $15K to finish out your lineups, and it won't be hard to figure out who the 2 of the $7K I like are to finish out my lineup. So who do you like in this? And I'll go over GPPs later.
I love it, Kenny. I'm gonna go with Mackenzie Hughes as well. I think he gets underpriced in these spots. Again, 2 second-place finishes. He is the best putter in this field with Denny McCarthy in it. So if you're gonna lean on someone that's less than $9,000 in a field like this, give me Mackenzie Hughes. I think he's definitely an option there. Chris Kirk is going to be under-owned, I would imagine. Of all these guys in this field, he's also one of these guys, Kenny, that hits these like ropey draws on positional venues. Sony Opens, played nicely. He's won at the Honda, PGA National, those kind of golf courses. I think Harbour Town, I don't know what he's done out there, but he just seems like a guy that plays well on these positional venues. He's a guy I'm in the mood for. Doug Gim as well. Now, the putting isn't quite there for him, but he's also one of these dudes. Like if you think about TPC Sawgrass, another short positional venue. Think about the Shriners. That's where Doug Gim does his magic. So this 8K range is actually pretty loaded again. I'm seeing a lot of guys that have played well in the past. And I think Luke Clanton is potentially a guy you want to take a gamble on for some high upside. He might not be high owned either, because I think trying to find a low owned option in these ranges is going to be tricky. Eric Cole's played great golf. Austin Eckroach just won a tournament. JJ Spawn, like you mentioned. So why is Lucas Glover never played well yet, Kenny? Isn't he a Sea Island guy?
He is. Like I said, you've seen that from some of these guys. But the thing is, we've seen that in other events. When you play an event close to home, you have a lot more responsibilities just in golf.
Yeah.
And a lot of these guys are so built on rhythm. And like
routine.
Routine, right?
Yeah.
That I think, like, especially like the older guys. I think the younger guys are easier. I don't know why. Because we've seen some guys have success at home recently. I'm trying to remember off the top of my head. But we've had somebody win near their hometown. Was it, or play well? I think it was in Utah. Wasn't it somebody?
McCarty? Is McCarty from Utah?
I don't remember.
It doesn't matter.
But like, we've seen it with Charlie Hoffman at like Vegas and stuff like that. But then we've seen other guys who, when they play their home course, they play well, like Webb at fucking Wyndham, right? Or whether something like that. So I guess it just depends on the golfer. But I think for a lot of guys, it's routine, and it fucks up their routine. They have to get tickets for these people. They got to make sure these people are getting in correctly. Everyone's going to watch, stuff like that. Who you're going to have dinner with afterwards. Usually instead of just you and your caddy. Right. But now, you have dinner with your buddies and they come in and congratulate you. It's a lot more to take in. So I think that's why he's been a little bit poor. I am rooting for him, though, after what he said about the PGA Tour. Clanton's my favorite play. I want to go with the upside here. I don't know how much he's played here. He wasn't SEC. He went to Florida State. But we've seen him play well recently. His iron game has been exceptional. Like the few times we've seen him out here, we know that he's a fucking stud in the making. We saw a stud in the making win here last year. Just sort of playing that narrative with Luke. And when it comes to it, in the few that he's played, he's played enough to fill out my last 24 rounds. I mean, he's the cream of the crop in the field. So, and his better putting performances have all been on Bermuda throughout his career. I think the majority of all of them that he's gained strokes putting whenever he's played on Bermuda. So I like him.
Let's go. I like him. That was a lot about Luke Clanton, Nick, and you definitely are a big fan. So let's get into the 7K Ranger. Phoebe's whispering some Sepp Strikers at me. I think he's a guy that's also, if you think about pedigree and overall success on the PGA Tour, what is this guy doing at $7,900? If he played great golf, would you be surprised? No. Justin Lower over here in this mix as well. Matt McCarty, big fan of him. Mark Hubbard, $7,500. He's your cut-making guy and played quite nicely last week. So I'll hand it over to you while I keep this dog quiet behind me.
Yes, Fenny with the good course history up here. He's sort of got the good game for you with the approach game, and if it's windy, he's good around the greens. We've seen it with, I think, didn't he win here a couple of years ago?
Yes.
Yeah, and I think he had a top 5 here and also. recently. So, a guy with course history and the stats to play well. I'm worried about Justin Lowe. If the wind blows heavy on Thursday and Friday, I just didn't like his attitude, right? I mean, like, I know he was in it and he's got to be tired, right? Because being in contention on a Sunday takes a lot out of you. And to do that back-to-back weeks in a row, and to have, everything sort of go wrong on Sunday, and then you get caught on the hot mic. And I'm rooting for him because I like him, but I don't know. I think this might be the week to jump off if he's popular. Just coming from the
that's fair.
Bridgman is a guy that I love. Again, if you want, you could probably play him in cash. He's made a ton of cuts here recently. He's played well in the fall, coming in with good form. I like Bridgman in this top range. Fishburne, Fishburne actually, I know he hasn't played nearly as much as Scotty Scheffler, but Fishburne, number 1 in greens and regulation for the 2024 season. I know he hasn't played that much, but in the time he has played, this guy hits a lot of greens. So I sort of like him up there. Going down a little bit lower, Grayson Sig's probably my favorite play at 7,300. I'm worried about ownership. But again, we've seen it's not like we're going to see 20+% of them. I think he's worth it, even 15%, 16%. I just have a feeling that he's going to play extremely well. He's coming in with good form. He's played well here in the past. It could be chalk, like donkey chalk. It could be. This is the time of year where it happens. So I do heed with warning, but I'm playing him in cash. So I won't be overexposed in him in GPPs, but I am definitely playing him in cash. Joe Highsmith, I don't know why he withdrew the last time, but I'll get back on him with a couple of guys that have been playing well in the fall. Simple. You've seen my narrative so far. Whaley, another guy, he's also played well here in the past. Pretty easy to see my guys. Doesn't take that much thinking, but that's literally sometimes you don't have to think that much to succeed. The overthinking sometimes kills you. Going simple.
Love it, dude. And you're right. This can be so simple, and you run these models that can be very complicated. Sometimes all it takes is just a bit of recent form and some course history, and then boom, all of a sudden you got sugar, spice, and everything nice. Just like
Carson.
But you got to
come up with the other plays in one play. I just crossed him, and it made me think it was sorry to interrupt. But Thorbjornsen, another guy with tremendous potential out there, who could be a stud. I think who could be cheap. Upside plays like that to make it differentiate.
What is Nico Echeverria doing at $7,200 in this field? The winner of the Zozo been top 5 or top 10 or so, in the last few, didn't play the best in Bermuda, but again, in that kind of tournament, I'm not going to take a bad performance and mark it against you. If you played well, sure, I'll lean into that a bit, but I'm not going to be too worried. $7,200. What are we doing with this guy? So I'm in on him. Carson Young as well, who played quite nicely at the WWT. Again, these are fairways just going to be kind of hitting layups on and going from there. Patton Kazai has been playing some solid golf this fall. And then your boy, Wesley Bryan. Yep, exactly. There we go. So let's see.
Guys that have won in the fall are low 7K.
Exactly. We've got 2 winners that are $7,200 over here. Kevin Hughes, $7,100
lives on the course.
Exactly.
Lives on the course, yeah.
So these are guys that you can kind of lean into. Chad Ramey, I'm always going to be playing him. Hayden Springer is an interesting situation. This is his last chance. He went to Bermuda inside the top 125, was leading the tournament at one point almost, I believe, and then finished outside the top 40, Kenny, completely melted down. And he just needs to finish inside the top 125 to keep his tour card. And I think guys on those kind of bubbles, I'm not in the mood to deal with because things are scary, right? So, and before we get into that, I want to ask you about Minwoo Lee. What on earth is he doing? He's sitting 64th in the FedEx Cup list, has played the Zozo and the Pro Call. That's all he's done in the fall swing. He's just willingly not trying to get into, I know he's probably playing in Australia.
Maybe he doesn't want to play those SIG events because he knows it's going to be tough to get that win. Get in those non-SIG events and get that W. get that monkey off the back, and then start balling. I mean, he's going to get into every single one of the non-sig events.
Yes.
So,
but
yeah, so he'll be fine. And
talk to
he'll
me. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, one of my guys down here, Ben Cole's 5, down here. I like his blend of like good drives, hits a lot of fairways, iron game strong, really good from 100 to 125. I mean, it's sort of like the perfect storm here. I wonder what his number is. Now I get that itch. Right when I said that, I started itching like the back of my head. I wonder what his number is for today. But yeah, I like him a lot down here at 7K. Probably my favorite play down here. Him and Sam Ryder. I do think Sam Ryder is probably going to be a little bit more owned, but Sam is never really highly owned. I like Sam Ryder. I play him often, especially this time of year. He's usually done me right, and once he doesn't, then he's stopped playing. That's the way it is. I played him last week. He was strong. I think he'll be strong again on a course like this. Tyler Duncan down there at 6,600. Again, the course history, a pretty easy play. Robbie Shelton, like we talked about in my bets, a person who, has all the potential, all the upside. And I'm trying to figure out what school he went to before
Robbie Shelton?
Mobile, Alabama. Bama. I knew it. I knew it was Bama. So he went to Bama. He has experience on this course. Another guy who might go overlooked, Christo Lamprecht. Not a bad showing last week in the wind isn't he a giant?
He hits
like
it 6'9" country mile, King.
Isn't he 6'9"? I know it's not like, that's not what you need at this course, but that's not what you needed last week at Bermuda. Bermuda is actually shorter than here. And, the Plantation course has 4 par 5s. And this guy had a pretty decent run last week. I think he finished top 30. Not horrible. A guy out there again with that, I think, upside. Again, who we've seen in like the lower levels. I think either college or AMS, he was really, really strong. Like one of the top players out there. So I give it to him. And look at Kevin Kisner playing a little bit of good golf here recently. I'm not going to play him because I hate him.
It's honorable mention.
But I got to give him a little bit of props because he looked, there was a pretty good run last week. I think he made the cut.
Well, yeah, he was inside the top 10 going into the weekend and kind of just shut it down his leg and finished, 29th. So not the best from Kiz over the weekend, but congrats on making a cut and, second.
And crazy Carl Wan, who was, 9th going into fucking Sunday, who I had at 250 to 1. I was like, please. That didn't work either. But I'll play him for 6,300 again this week in similar conditions on a similar type course.
Exactly. And I'll kind of go from the bottom here. I'm going to take on Aaron Baddeley again. Short positional golf courses with wind, short game dependent, chipping and putting. Aaron Baddeley's your guy. Give me him. I'm going to rock and roll with some other options in the top here. Maybe you can take a gamble on Troy Merritt after he found a little bit of form. $6,400 for him. Chad Ramey, as I mentioned, always going to be a thing. Zach Blair at $6,600. Definitely going to be someone I'm going to be rostering for sure. Kevin Streelman's been playing decent golf in the last few tournaments. Give me him. And then Jake Knapp, $6,900. I think he could be very low owned. We've seen what this guy's upside's like. He can be inside the top 5 quite easily given his price tag over here. And then Zach Johnson, $6,900. If you're just looking for a guy to get inside the top 30, maybe round out your cash game kind of thing. If you're in the mood for that, I don't mind it. He's good on these courses. So I'll go with some Zach Johnson to round out that situation there. Awesome stuff, friends. Thank you all for tuning in. That is going to be it for this week's episode of Fantasy Golf Degenerates. As always, you can find me at The Model Maniac. Go check out my Patreon, The Model Maniac. And I'll be on Back 9 Bits drafting Kenny's team on my show tomorrow at 7 Eastern. Check all that out. And as always, all my stuff will be at rotoballer.com for you to take a look at. Kenny, what's going on in your life for the rest of the week?
Make sure you go to Underdog Fantasy, use promo code Mayo, get yourself a deposit match bonus up to $1,000. Go ahead and get on that. We'll do our plays and stuff tomorrow on Back 9 Bets at 7 p.m. live on the Mayo Media Network on YouTube. If you missed it, you can catch the recording. Just hit the live button and you can watch the recording of the show as well. You can find my ass on X at Kendo VT. You can find my article every week on GupsCorner.com. Use promo code GupsCorner. Use promo code Kenny. Save yourself 30% on a sub to Gups Corner. All right. Last event of the year. We probably will do something before the century as like a little pre-year show. So make sure you stay tuned for that. Also stay tuned for OT with the FTD. Should be a fun week. I really want each way 39 and 40 and outright number 8. Please, gambling gods, make this happen. Let's win some motherfucking money. Degen Nation.
I've been getting dirty money, Jordan Belfort. Stacking penny stocks while I'm flipping these birds. Sipping on Ciroc, trip 'em up with the words. I done popped the Molly and I think it's be my third. Jordan Belfort.
The show was long as fuck.
Long show. OT's going to have to be a short one. Otherwise, we're going to have to give Mike our salary.
Yeah, we could just do OT next time. I'm tired of shit.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah,
I know Mike wanted to chat about
what's the
Tyson, though.
the Tyson fight. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
well, Kenny got the premier viewing experience out of all of us. So
I actually got to see it. I guess I woke up and the main event was on because this shit started at like 11:30 and I was tired as fuck.
Yeah.
Well, I did go to a really nice restaurant that night. I could tell it was really classy. Like the hooker level, there was at least 3, and they were like high class, like
at
hookers.
least 3
Out of 5. Out of 5 or 10.
No. These are very, very, very nice. I mean, I stay away from that in my hometown area because I know I would just
know them.
No, I would spend too much money. Like so the only time I venture in, women of the night and stuff like that would be like, if I'm on vacation or some shit like that. Basically like every husband out there. I'm kidding. Any woman that's listening, it's a joke. It's a joke. But
Speaking of vacations, though,
yeah,
Mike Tyson, baby, doubled his net worth just by wobbling around the ring.
he was hurt.
You know
He was
what?
hurt.
He looked fucking crazy in the first 30 seconds, though. He looked like Iron Mike was back. And then
He had that one left hand and then it was over.
Yeah.
But he had his knees were all fucked up. And I guess it was canceled the time before and he posted he almost died.
Yeah, he had 3 blood transfusions.
Training
that's
for the fight
crazy.
when it was in August.
Yeah.
And that's why they had to call that shit off.
Yeah.
And it's only November.
Mm-hmm.
I know.
I don't feel like it was that much time.
But I think
and
we
for
all
20
we all
so
hit some pretty
basically-
good bets though.
yeah.
We all hit.
I did.
We all hit.
I bet with my mind last week instead of my heart because I knew the Commanders were going to lose. 3 hobbled offensive linemen against a healthy Eagles team and we held our own to the last 5 minutes. That would have it's sort of like a life hedge, right?
Mhm.
You bet against your team, but if your team wins, I'm more happy about that than the loss. But I did hit that, but I parlayed that. So that wouldn't be my only win. If that was my only win, then shit would feel dirty.
Yeah.
Shit would feel dirty.
Yeah, no, it was a little
It shit would feel dirty.
buffer.
Yeah, so I parlayed it with Jake Paul wins in a decision.
Yep.
I think it was it was almost plus 600. They worked it out. They had to. Because they knew Mike was hurt.
It has to go the distance, dude. In
they
a
know
fight
Mike was hurt.
like that. Yeah, that was a
And
no-brain play.
Jake wasn't going to kill somebody who's hurt.
No.
No.
But they still
or
needed
a
the fight.
58-year-old. You
Yeah,
can't murder a
they
58-year-old.
They still needed the fight to happen.
Yeah.
Right? Netflix needed this fight. This is full court press for their football that they're going to have on Christmas Day or some shit. Right?
And
I mean,
WWE Raw is coming too in the new
yeah.
year.
So I mean,
it's live.
Netflix needed this fight, so that they pressed them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then it's $20 million. Mike needs a $20 million.
He doubled his net worth.
And so it was definitely rigged.
For sure.
Maybe the first minute, they were like, okay,
Yeah.
let's see what happens in the first minute of the fight.
If
something crazy happens in the first minute,
yeah.
that's when you saw all the action. That's when you saw Tyson hit that fucking left, and Jake's eyes got a little big.
And then he went for the clinch. If you look, he went for the clinch, and then if you're into the conspiracy part of it all, it looks like Jake whispers in his ear, and then Mike pats him on the back, saying, "Yeah, you're right, you're right."
Okay.
Yeah,
He's like, "No,
I'll
that's
try
good."
and find that. Yeah. He's like, "Okay."
No, I know
I'll
what
calm
you're
down."
talking about.
Yeah.
But it was like a WWE event. Like, you know
Yeah,
how they
it
do
really
it when
was.
they do a match.
Yeah.
They're like, yo, I want to throw you into the ropes,
Yeah.
elbow, drop kick. It's
Yeah.
basically what the fuck they were
That's all
doing.
it was.
And so luckily we were right about that.
Yeah.
And I went to decision and I made that bet. But yeah, I can't blame anybody for it, especially because of the circumstances, because Tyson was hurt.
Mm-hmm.
And
and
all
they
his balls.
had to do the fight.
Yeah.
They had to do it. There was no choice.
Yeah.
And so the parties did. I mean, I thought Jake was very respectful.
Yeah, he was. He
could have
was.
killed him.
For
Could
sure.
have killed him if he wanted to.
But
because
but
Tyson
also
couldn't
Jake
move.
doesn't have any boxing skill at all.
No.
Like, yeah, it was,
He wants to
it
fight
was so
Canelo, he will
stupid.
die.
Yeah,
If
literally.
he fights
yeah,
Canelo,
will
he'll die.
Yes.
He will
Yeah.
die.
Yeah.
He will die.
And it
I
kind
will
of sucks
pay to see
because
that.
it like Jake was really on about it, and like he's just all talk, and I wanted to actually see him do something, but after
Maybe
that,
if
just,
the
he's got
fight was
nothing.
in
He's
the
got
summer.
nothing, dude.
It could
Yeah.
happen.
Yeah, he's
When
just
Mike
got nothing.
was really training and it was like 100%, and he was going hardcore and he was healthy.
Yeah,
But like the knees, the problem with his knees, and then the whatever the fuck happened to him
yeah,
to get sick like that. I mean,
it's brutal.
there was no chance.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. Tough stuff. But
Yeah.
we all made money. So Jake Paul,
exactly.
the biggest
did.
wagon in sports betting ever.
Yeah.
I mean, how is it even
That's-
allowed to bet on this stuff? He put his purse on himself to win the fight.
Yeah. You're
I
allowed to
think
do
that's
that.
bullshit.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah,
how's that incredible? That's just like
Yeah,
the guy's
that's
a
crazy.
businessman, like
for
like
sure.
no one else.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I mean, it was all staged. There was
Yeah.
all the outcome was decided.
I think there's something
But-
in those events though that
But that's
nobody's
why
allowed
Mike
to lose a
said-
belt. Like
That's why
in
Mike.
those.
Oh shit! That's what I forgot to fucking do.
Oh.
Oh, we'll do it on OT. Yeah,
oh,
Championship
from
belt.
golf, dude.
the championship belt.
Yeah, let's put that
Damn.
on full screen.
That's
Tilted
what
and
we
tilted a
won.
bit down,
It's
so
not
it
focusing.
doesn't. Yeah,
Yeah. Can't see, but it looked I kind of see it. Kind of put it up more. Bring it up, bring it closer. I don't know, your camera's not focusing it.
Oh,
There we go.
Oh,
Nova Classic.
tilt it a bit more.
Yeah. There you go.
Ooh, baby.
Pull it back.
Hey, Kenny.
Yeah.
Wait,
When
dude,
the
the,
belt there-
white looks
The
good.
belt, the
Yeah.
Intercontinental, the old Intercontinental Championship belt.
Literally is.
That's what it reminds me of right
Yeah.
there with the green. That's
awesome.
another reason I wore the green.
Yep.
So I'd match that shit. I totally forgot.
Looks good, dude.
I totally forgot.
Yeah.
Anything else? I do want to talk about Cam and the Swifties. But should we save that? But I mean, this is the last pot of the
This
year.
is
Yeah.
if you want.
Might as well go. Yeah.
All
Might
right.
as well go for it. Okay, so you guys are, I don't know, you guys probably heard the story of what happened to Cam. He made an off-the-cuff remark on a show. From what I've been told, it's like the woke hockey network of Canada. There's like 2 hockey networks, right, Mike?
Yeah. Yeah.
And,
I don't know where he did it. I didn't see
It was
where
one
it
of
was.
the, it was on one of the cable channels.
Oh, wow.
in Canada.
Jesus Christ.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
They let Cam
They let
be on
Cam
TV.
be on that.
Yeah, he's on TV all the time. He's almost like Pharrell and shit. Like
Wow. That's crazy.
Cam's like real media.
I didn't know that.
Like
yeah.
Cam's like, you guys thought like Cam was like us?
Yeah.
No. Cam's like, Cam does this for a living. This is what Cam does.
Wow.
He hosts shows he has a show with Pharrell.
All right, yes, we got smoke like 800 there on cigarettes, and no one understand anything I'm saying.
That guy. You know, he does shows with him.
was a good
He's like
impression.
a real, my throat hurts like a motherfucker
Yeah.
right now after doing that. It's all, I should smoke some weed. You know, the capillaries open up. And so he was on that show and he says, he was going off on Kansas City, just on a tirade. You know,
He hates
you know how
Kansas
Cam
City.
does.
Yeah.
He about how lucky they are. And, you know, it's just a fun little tirade that he was going off on. And a commentator on the show says something about like, yeah, I think Taylor Swift is going to be there, you know, just to say something. And Cam is still like heated from this conversation. Right? He's still like fired up, and you know, fucking fired up Cam. Like it's not going to go away, right?
He doesn't turn any less red. Yeah.
Yes, yeah. And so And so he gets all fired up, and that guy throws that comment. He's like, "I'll throw her into the falls." Like, he said it as like an off the cuff, like offhand moment, right?
Yeah.
And the thing is, like, okay, I can understand. There's crazy people out there, because I was on, like, so the people started like bombarding him and like the network, saying like he's threatening Taylor Swift's life because of that comment, right? And he's getting hundreds of comments on like X. I told my coworker about this, and she's a Swiftie, and she's like on all these like underground Swiftie chat shits. Like, this shit's a cult.
It's cult time.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. And like some of the shit they were saying, like he should, like, death threats. Like, okay, some of it was funny. Like, one thing they did call him, like, I don't know, well, they did call him the Canadian Al Bundy because of his Wikipedia. Okay.
They're creative, man. They really are.
If you look at it, he has a Wikipedia page, and on his Wiki page, it has like his like greatest stat from high school hockey, right? And so I guess the Swifties like found his page, and then they started making fun of that. They were saying he should jump off the falls. That he should be banned, canceled. It was like crazy, and like what I don't understand is like, it's obviously an off-the-cuff comment. Like, it's obviously like he's not like dead serious looking at the camera and saying, "Fuck this bitch, I want to kill her. Let's throw her into the goddamn lake." Because the clip wasn't just that. Like, if they just showed that and clipped it, that's fucked up. But they showed the whole thing. And it was like a minute-long tirade. And it was him just going fucking crazy about the goddamn fucking Kansas City Chiefs. Now, the Chiefs fans that went after him, your fandom's gonna do that, right? But these Swifties are crazy. Like, people think, if people thought this was in America and they were tagging the FBI, like, and shit like this.
Yeah,
like,
that's
literally,
insane.
they were
tagging
being
the Mounties.
they were being serious. Like, I don't understand.
Oh yeah, they just
Like,
swarm.
now this is coming from a niche. This is coming from a guy who hosts like a niche fucking golf betting show. Okay, so I don't know how much I could talk, but like, these people, like, it's like their lives. Like, you say anything bad about it, like, they come out and they will like fuck you
Our
up.
Taylor, like, it's, like it's
yeah.
she belongs to them. Like,
it's crazy.
It is not okay. And it shows you what's going on in the world right now, Kenny. Like, if you got in an elevator with the Swiftie, you would be in serious problems.
Like, you got to be so careful with like what you say, and it's so dumb, because 98% of the people in the world are gonna get that meant nothing. But those 2% are so fucking loud now because of social media, because of all this. Like, it's so loud. Even though a lot of the times they're in a minority, and you've seen this sort of in society, in politics, how everything's shifting towards, the far
Peripheries,
outreaches of both parties. Even though, in my opinion, I think that's the least amount of people that there are, and the majority of people are in the middle somewhere, right? Mm-hmm. But because these groups on the fringes are so loud, but they cause so much disruption, it happens in every facet that we're seeing, not from politics to entertainment to I mean, it's craziness out there. To be able to think about what you say so hard. Like, I'm glad that we do this show, because no one really cares. And and so we could get away with it. And it's a great relief. Like, if you're out there, just start like a niche podcast that like no one's going to that will help you out a little bit financially, but in the long run will never really amount to anything. So you could say whatever the fuck you want all the time, which is great. I love it. That's why I love doing this show. That's why this show's like 2 hours long already, because it doesn't really matter.
And I did a show with Cam where we were doing golf betting, and we started speaking about Gary Player, and he like, if there's like a Gary Player Swifties cult somewhere, dude, he's dead, because like he went and like there was some like serious stuff that he mentioned. So
well, here's
like,
the thing. For us, it's easy to see because we know Cam, we know his content. So we're in a very small minority. This got blown out like pretty, not like, he went somewhat viral.
blown out of proportion. Absolutely.
It went somewhat viral out there. And so these people who are just seeing a clip, so they don't know him. So it's really easy to jump to conclusions, except for the fact that you saw that he was an unhinged lunatic for the first minute of the whole video. Yeah. And obviously, like, you know, this is his shtick, right? Because everybody has their own shtick when they're doing some type of content, right? Because it's something to stand out. And it's a lot easier when it's actually like who you really are. And for Cam, it's easy because probably who he really is. I've never met the guy, but you know, I've done a couple of shows with him, and even if you just saw that for the first minute, right? You would have to know that
you'd get it right away.
Literally just off the cuff.
Yeah.
And these people just take it so fucking seriously, and they're ruining everything. Like you have to. Like, and you can't be funny anymore. I don't even watch. Are there comedy movies anymore? Like,
Not good ones.
They just stop making comedies. Like, did you notice that? Because they know they can't make anything good anymore because it's just going to offend somebody. Fuck that. Jesus, God, it's so fucking annoying.